Welcome to Mommy Making Millions, the podcast. I'm your hostess, Marquita Deshay, mompreneur mentor, author, and visionary strategist. I help mompreneurs develop balance between their businesses and their babies while attaining generational wealth, simply taking their ideas and helping them to turn it into profitable income. Join me bi-weekly as I put the spotlight on other successful millionaire mompreneurs for them to also share their best business practices and truly unveil what it looks like from the glamorous life to the deep, dark, nitty-gritty life of a mompreneur. Thank you. I'm gonna start recording, but no, thank you. And you know what? It's really mothers like you that allow me to help build this community, because for me, when I first got started in entrepreneurship, one of the things that I did not do with my boutique was build that community and turning back the wheels, just looking at how I can have more of an impact, because there was a point in time where I did feel like I was just a mom, right? And being able to build this community and knowing that I don't have to have all of the answers, but I can run into like just some real bomb ass moms. I usually don't say curse words on our podcast. But I feel like that was the best word.
That's what it is.
But just being able to run into moms that like to connect, to collaborate, and just know that we out here getting a bag. So welcome back, Mommy Millionaire, to another episode of Mommy Making Millions, the podcast. I'm excited, y'all, because I have, is it Teeauna?
Teeauna, yes.
Yeah, Teeauna White here with us. And I'm super excited, y'all. I know I probably always say that every episode because every mom I meet, they're just getting even bomber, if that's even a word. But Teeauna, from my perspective, you're doing a male-dominated industry. You're in a male-dominated industry. So let me give you a little bit about Teeauna for a second. She is the CEO of PrettyMuthaTrucka. She's also the CEO of WhiteWay Trucking. And you started off as PrettyPockets. I don't know if you're PrettyPockets still.
But
still PrettyPockets, right? Still PrettyPockets and PrettyMuthaTrucka. And so you started your firsthand experience in a small fleet operations, started with dispatching and over-the-road driving, owner operator. Who, girl, come on, talk about the coins. PrettyPockets is right. And you came into the trucking industry with no experience, but you had this vision. I love that. And you educated yourself through hands-on operation while documenting the position as a woman in the trucking industry. Let me first of all just give you a clap, a round of applause.
Thank you.
Wow. Like when I was reading that, I really saw like a little bit of a glimpse of just every possible thing that you could have possibly went through and then some, because I know what I'm building on the back end is not easy, right? And for you to not have any hands-on experience, trucking isn't something. This is real life big dog stuff. Like talk about it. How did you get into the trucking industry? Where did this passion come from?
So the passion grew, I'll be honest. When I first got into trucking, I was transitioning about almost 2 years out of being a serial 9-to-5er, right? I was in retail really heavy. I had been in retail since I was 14 years old. I worked very young and just had a position in my family that a lot of the responsibilities were on me. So I worked in retail for many, many years. And with having my third baby, I had like some medical issues just being a mom, and my company failed me. Corporations, you can pour into them, be so loyal, dedicated, hardworking. And the time I needed my company to be there for me, they said, hey, we're sorry you're pregnant, but you can't fulfill the duties as, an area manager, a store manager. We're going to have to replace you temporarily. But I handled FMLA, I handle leaves. And I'm like, well, if I'm gone 6 weeks legally, I'm not, longer, I'm not guaranteed my position when they get back. And they said, well, you'll have a job when you get back though. And that wasn't comforting to me. So I left, the retail side, having a boss, working for a corporation, and I had a 401k. So I did, invest and was a little smart, and I got into entrepreneurship. So as I was like getting my head, hit and having my experiences in entrepreneurship, I was like, this is really hard. I had nightclubs, hookah lounges, you know, my clothing brand. I was just like this serial entrepreneur trying to figure out, but I was doing things that I liked. PrettyPockets at that time it's a big movement. It was women just getting money. However, so I supported anybody from being in school to being a housewife, you know, to working a 9 to 5 down to like exotic dancers and, you know, models. And that part of it blew up for me really big. So the nightlife had became a bag for me and me managing dancers, being in clubs, doing promotions. And then eventually I got my own nightclub. I have my own lounge. But as a mother, let's go back to the mom part. I'm like, I'm building something that I can't pass to my kids. And the reason why I said that is because I'm experiencing very dangerous atmospheres being liquor and nightlife, right? And so I had to evaluate my investment and my time and was like, you know, is this something that I could really leave my girls, my son? No, I can't. Like, this isn't a life I really would want them to come and take over mom's business. If this is what we're working for, you know, to be able to put our children in position. And so I literally kind of shut down everything. And I had a small bag and I was like, what am I going to get into? And I thought heavily on getting into the feminine side, you know, opening up a boutique, doing what I knew how to do. And it just wasn't money motivating. So I had someone in my ear about like, get a truck. And then my son's dad was like, get a truck. I'm like, I don't know anything about trucking. And so I went eventually and looked at some trucks. They were all beat up and they were like these yellow old Stater Brothers trucks. And it was like 10 or 12 of them. And I didn't know, you know, if it was for me, but they were like a good price. The owners was willing to work with me on like cash down. I didn't have established credit at this time. It sounds crazy, but I wasn't financially literate. I was the girl that worked hard, stacked a lot of money, and I always went to the box, you know, like this is what I have. And if I didn't have it, I couldn't do it. I never leveraged credit at that time. So let's just know where I was at. So this was a great opportunity for me to get in, but I didn't jump on it. I left. And then I went to Google and I'm like, how much do trucking, you know, how much is this? I went to the Google, but truthfully, Google will send you in a rat race sometimes. They will give you misled information, broad information, numbers that aren't correct, information sometimes that's not correct. So I went back like 3 days later without the baby daddy, you know, went on my solo tip and it was only 3 trucks left within 72 hours. So I was like, hold on.
Wow.
Something definitely going on. Yeah. And I thought about back to when like my dad bred dogs and I'm like, the first picks of the litter be the good truck.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, I missed something. So I was like, you know, F it. I'm gonna just get a truck. So I gave the guy $5,000 down and I got this truck. Didn't have a CDL, didn't know how to drive. Didn't know what I needed to do to get the truck on the road. So now I'm just out here trying to figure it out. Wow. And it's such a long story, but getting your truck on the road should take about 30 days to 45 days, right? It took me a little over 3 months. And the reason being is every time I got one thing, I thought I was good. Oh, you need this. No one actually was literally trying to help me, even though they seen I need help. They seen I was naive to the trucking industry. I'm a woman. I'm getting finessed out of money, paying third-party companies to do things. Nothing was going the right way. And I didn't have someone to say, here's a list of things you're going to need to do in the order that you need to do them to save you time, to save you money, and to get your truck on the road so you can start making money. Yeah. I didn't have that. So once I got that process started, I hired a driver and girl, he was finessing me. So, you know, because you're a trucking wife, there's 2 receipts to the fuel. And so he was like cash cowing all this money to me. I need this for gas. And I didn't even know how much gas was. I'm just sending money. Long story short, I was getting the first receipt, not the second of what he was actually putting in. About 6 weeks in, it was super raining. He left my truck stuck in the mud. I couldn't get it out. I couldn't go get it personally. It was at my yard. It resulted in my yard telling me I couldn't be there anymore. So now I don't have truck parking. So it was this big domino effect. And the key thing was because you can't drive your own truck. Oh. So that's what ignited through this like horrific start of me just saying, you know, I'm gonna go get my CDL. But truthfully, it was like me telling my son's dad, like, you need to go get your CDL because I need you to drive this truck. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna do it. And then he went and he signed us both up. So that was the plan. The plan was to get another truck as soon as I got my CDL, and that's exactly what happened. We went to school. He was ready to test out in 2 weeks. I was not ready until 3 months later. I got this 3-month time span. I don't know, but it was very difficult for me. It was really hard trying to study. I had a baby. I had 2 kids. And so, men, not to go into that, but they don't have as many roles as us. So he was able to like study his pre-trip. I'm like, is the laundry ready? Is the kids good? School clothes out, baths ready, dinner done, clean the kitchen. So it seemed like my process, I wasn't able to, dedicate as much time as he was. And so when it was time for us to actually get our CDL, he waited for me so we could do it together. But it was literally one of the hardest things that I think I've ever accomplished other than pushing out a baby. The tears, the like not feeling like I was good enough.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry.
Yeah, I'm tearing up because I'm like going back into that tunnel really quick. Like it was so hard. I gave up like twice. Like I can't do this. It's hard. I don't know how to do it. And so I would quit. And then I'll be back at the school like next week, and they'll be like, "Oh, she's a Gemini. She's just bipolar." Because I was like, out everybody at the school, like, "This is hard. No one's helping me." And then I would leave. I would be like, I'm slamming my book on the ground. I'm like, "I'm out of here. I want my money back." And then I'm here like next Monday, like, "Hey, anybody want coffee?" Like, sorry, I need my CDL.
That's so good. Wow.
That's how I started, with just the driving part and figuring out the owner, owner operator part of it and dispatching on my own. I poured all my money into trucking. So I didn't have a lot of cushion to like afford to be able to pay people percentages to do dispatching for me or to do this. And my trust was kind of messed up just with life experiences where like, I'm going to do everything on my own because everybody's trying to play me. I'm a woman. They know I don't know what I'm doing. So in order to avoid that, like I'm going to do everything in-house. And it forced me to level up. It forced me to boss up in this. And then all the guys that weren't helping me or when I would be on the road because, not to go too personal, right after I got the second truck, my baby daddy went to the feds. So yeah, this team thing that I thought I would have help with ended up being like, he really was the fire to get me started. And then he left. So it was like, I had no help. I had no one to call on. And now I got 2 trucks. I only can drive one. And so it's just this journey that I'm grateful for. And, that's why I got into so heavily, pushing what I do now, because I know there's a need for, especially women, having help, having direction and guidance when getting into an industry like this. It's very rough in trucking.
No, it really is. And I just really, again, when we first started, I mentioned that I didn't even understand truly the magnitude of some of the things that you went through. But to hear you, and I'm just making sure that my timer is on over here, but to hear you say, these are all the things I went through also with still being a mom. Yes, I did have support there, but these are also the roles that I played. I gave up on myself. I really had I was getting the bag, right? PrettyPockets really was PrettyPockets. But I started thinking about legacy and longevity and what can I really leave my kids? And even though you didn't really know what that was, you continued to just go for it, right? Go for it, meaning, you were listening to, your baby daddy at the time. And even though it was something totally out of probably your comfort zone, you were not oblivious to the fact you were paying attention. It's some type of hustle mentality there. I don't know if it's because of being in the nightclub or more to your story, but I can identify with what you're saying. And when you say I went back to the trucking yard and, these trucks was kind of leaving like hotcakes, that's opportunity cost, so the litter is pretty much leaving, what you gonna do, and to be able to take that, leap, 5,000 down. I know for us, we're still in the process of trying to get our own truck, right? And, funding could have stopped you. You could have thought about everything of, I don't know anything about trucking. You could have stopped at, who's going to be my driver. You went into the trucking industry and bought a truck, Teeauna, and you didn't even have a CDL. Like most people would have thought you were probably just crazy. You know what I mean? So I think this is just like, you really truly do have a story that is, I mean, unmatched. And the fact that you were still willing to say, I'm not looking at anything that I've been through as losses, but more like lessons. And I think that's what really makes our success sweet as mothers, as mommy making millions, is the ability to say, how can I pivot, you know, into what's happening into, you know, something that I can profit. Like, what was the lesson here that I can learn? So wow. I mean, I didn't have any idea, but I knew that, y'all, I was sliding in her DMs. Okay. I knew that it's a feeling, you know, anybody that's out here doing it. And I told my husband all the time, I say, I didn't know that women were really out here getting a bag in trucking, right? Even though my husband is a male, I didn't see, especially pretty women in trucking, like, oh, you know, more feminine women is what I'm really trying to say.
Some of us out there, we out there.
Y'all cute and y'all get in the bag. And
we out there now. I am not the only one. I mean, not every educating space like I am, but it's definitely some bad girls out there in these trucks, you know?
Yeah. I was messing with my husband. I said,
truly, like, I'm gonna just keep it all the way real. It's You can hear me okay?
I can hear you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. It's like I've always worked, and there's many women like me, and I'm gonna tell you why a lot of women are getting their CDL. I'm gonna be very transparent, and why you see a lot of our culture. And when I say our culture, I won't even just say, you know, African Americans. I'll say minorities, even for Hispanic. Right? Over there.
Right. Yeah.
But having a CDL is truly a way out. And the reason why I'll say a way out is because so many of us don't have college degrees, including myself. I worked hard, I've managed, I've done everything I've needed to do underneath the sun to be okay. I've dropped out of college twice. So I don't have a college degree. I don't have a skill set. I worked very young. So when I really left that company that was so comfortable to me, I had a great salary, you know, make my own schedule. Even though I'm a mom, I can figure out what I need to do because I've, you know, leveraged my authority of making my, when I left, it's hard. It is hard on a financial level and actual business on so many levels. And so have a skill set. They don't have a degree to fall back on. They can't just go be a nurse. They maybe never learned how to do hair. There's certain people who they hustle and they make a business out of a skill set. Like they can braid, they can do hair, they, you know, learn how to do lashes, whatever. A lot of people are leveraging the fact that truck drivers are in demand. All I got to do is get a CDL, and I can make thousands of dollars a month. A great truck driver could make you know, I mean, if you're staying locally, you get $1,200 a week. If you're going out over the road, you can make $2,000 a week. You can make $2,200 a week. For a lot of people, this is a comfortable living for my family, especially men that are coming like out of the prison system and felons and things like that. Truck driving and
And we're back.
I was just talking and probably cut all the way off.
You know, I did get a good glimpse of that, but you were just talking about just being able to get that CDL, and not only just getting the CDL, but also having that skill set to be able to fall back on that trade, to be able to make your schedule. And so that's pretty much what I heard.
Yeah, and just, you know, just overall, just people having another way that knowing that becoming a truck driver, having a CDL, you can make great money and provide for your family without going to school for years or, you know, finishing college and things like that. Not to say, you know, that isn't encouraging, but a lot of people they don't finish. And by the time they're 30, 35 years old and they look up and they say, dang, life passed by and I don't have nothing to fall back on, they say, let me go hop in a truck that's working. And that's what you see happening, not just with women, but just, you know, a lot of our minority men too, just transitioning out of the street life or, changing their lifestyle. It's a way for someone with a record to still go make a great living for their family.
Yeah.
And so that's what I really love about it and with helping people.
Yeah, and I think at one point, not to go too far off, but I think for me, the narrative for people who were in the trucking industry where you were only in trucking because you were a convicted felon. It was like they were pushing all of people were making the trucking industry to look like a bad thing, where it was really flipping it to identify and having more of an entrepreneur mindset to saying you can really make good money in the coaching industry and not have to worry about that college degree, because there are people, like I'm one of those people who went to school, tried so hard after getting my GED to still have this perfect life and still try to make something of myself in corporate. And then when corporate fired me, it was just pretty much like, okay, what am I going to do? Well, it was hard to find a job. And not only just finding a job, you want to find something that you feel like you have the freedom to do. I don't want to feel like I got to go punch a clock every day and I hate what I'm doing. And one of the challenges that I'm getting ready to do is a 5-day pivot and profit challenge. And it's basically teaching mothers in entrepreneurship how to pivot into coaching, consulting, or any other service-based business where they're taking their transferable skills, whether it be from when they were in corporate or if they had their own CDL business like yourself or a service-based business. How can you teach other people the skill set so that they can really be paid? How can you pivot this transferable knowledge? And I just think that to be able to do what you did, like you said, not having the college degree and being okay with that, because for a long time, I'm out here probably $50,000 in unpaid student loans and, definitely paying those back. But just think about that. I really wish I invested in things like maybe the trucking industry sooner or something like, a business coach versus being in a college, and I think that the way we were grown to be into the working life here, right, for lack of better words, but to be an adult, right, entrepreneurship wasn't something that people just really pushed for us, especially growing up. So I want to pivot a little. Oh, go ahead.
I do agree with you. When I was growing up, like I remember my elementary school, I'm 35, like elementary school, middle school, only thing that was pushed was college. Yep. And so being like an early adult and I'm seeing my peers like get their AA and then they're getting their bachelor's and I'm still like working, I'm just like mentally, even though you have high confidence, like I have all these things going on in the back of my mind and my subconscious, I'm still like, dang, I failed. I didn't go to school. Yep. Dang, I failed. I won't make good money. Dang, I failed. I can't guarantee I'm going to make that 60, 70 a year. Like, I got to figure it out. And so for a long time, either like it plays on you and it can like hurt you or it can fuel you to be like, okay, but what else? And that's why entrepreneurship was it for me, because I felt like I fumbled that bag. Like, dang, I fumbled that. So now I got to show them like, okay, we can still go on these girls' trips. Okay, I can still attend, birthday parties and exchange. Like, I can still make the same kind of money that y'all are making. Not that it was competitive. I'm just saying internally, I don't want to fail. Like, okay, me having my own businesses, it has to work because I didn't do the right way. So I thought, and now I have a lot of friends. Two of my friends, that finished school, they have like master's degrees. Like, they're like, can you help me get a truck? Can you help me get into entrepreneurship? This idea. And I'm just like, yes, I'll definitely help you. And actually, maybe we could do something together, because even though you go to school, you might have like that debt or whatever, you still gain a lot of experience, knowledge, and skill sets from college that you can apply to your business that make you an even better business owner. And so I'm like, I'm pretty sure you have some things that you can add very much value to what I have going on. So
no, absolutely. And the fact that you noticed that, but I think I felt that way too when I finally got my degree in college. I was feeling like, oh, okay, I finally did something. But then it was just like, what am I going to do? And then even getting fired, it's like, okay, entrepreneurship, this have to work. So you have a different type of mind. We have a different type of hustle as moms in entrepreneurship. So man, I love this conversation. I hope y'all that are listening, when you listen to this podcast episode, are just really, truly inspired to know that, your pathway to success doesn't have to look like everyone else's. And it may not look like you wanted to look in the beginning, which I'm sure, Teeauna, you would have probably never thought that you're where you are now in your trucking business. How
Yes.
has this truly changed your life as a mom in trucking?
It has changed it. It has changed it dramatically because I do have a confidence now with my children and they see me work very hard. But being a truck driver in the times that it was very crucial, I'm home in this year a lot more than I've ever been in the 4 years I've been in trucking. This is the very first year where I recently got local work. I have drivers in my truck. I'm educating, so that money kind of supplements when I don't have the money coming in for me personally driving. Getting in, I told you guys I didn't have a lot of experience. So I've been running on trucks that weren't the best trucks to buy. I just bought them. So, now I guide people on, the right equipment to buy based on I pretty much made all the mistakes for everybody. So I'm able to tell everybody how to do it the right way while I'm over here still struggling through the wrong decisions. But my kids have missed a lot of my time. And so that part, you have to be very disciplined in your actions and your balance. And the reason why I say that is because now I have a preteen, I have a 10-year-old, and I have a 6-year-old son. And my son's in sports heavily. My girls are getting into sports. Then I also have a teen. My mom is my support system. She would help me. But I miss so much time. And so when I'm coming back home, it's like playing catch up on the house, everything that's going on. And sometimes I just have to like stop and just be like, okay, we're not going to spring clean. The house isn't as clean as I want it to be, but we're going to sit down and we'll have dinner.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what's going on. So like, I feel like that's the hard part of like, when you have that time that's at home, focus on like the structure and making sure everything's together, or you worrying about what's going on with your kids and catching up with your kids and the quality time with your kids. And like, I used to balance with that a lot, like home duties as a mother, because I don't have a woman in the house doing what I do, or just spending time with them because I'm gone so much. And because our children, they don't really appreciate all the things that they know we do. They don't appreciate the bills being paid and them being in the nice.
Quite.
They understand it because they see what their friends have. My kids they're spoiled, but truthfully, when they get older, they remember the times you weren't there, the times that they couldn't call you or they couldn't lay in the bed with you. They remember time. It's so much more value versus the material things. But as parents, especially a parent like me, I didn't have anything really growing up. All I had was my mom being there for us, but we weren't we were poor as fuck. Mm-hmm. So it's like, me growing up, once I started having kids, my mind shifted to, I got to make sure my kids never, have nothing, or they never deal with nothing, And so on the materialistic side, that's been a balance for me. And I feel like I kind of caught my niche now on how to like operate my house and how to balance my time. It didn't come at first, but through trial and error and, communicating, it's like, I know where I need to be as a mom. And now they're getting older. They understand, like, I got to go work. So, being an educator, even doing things like this, even times I'm home, I'm working off the phone, I'm working on Zoom, I'm on these calls. And so it's like,
real life mommy making millions.
That's why you don't hear them. That's why you don't hear them rattling in the back. They left last night, but usually they like, every 2 seconds they would be asking me something. So it's hard even trying to work from home because your kids don't understand. They think mom's home, you're home. Like now I'm working means you're gone. Home means you're home. So I truly love it though, because I'm able to be an example. I'm able to be an example for them, that, whatever you want to do, you can do it. And so moving forward, I support they want to go to college, and I also support if they want to start a business. I'm just trying to make sure that I have enough saved to fund whatever it is that they choose. I won't force them into a college degree. I'll say that.
Touche. I agree with you. And I'm just like, we're going to have a plan. You might not necessarily have to go to college, but we definitely want to have a plan. And I know you mentioned you talking about being an educator as well and being able to shift. I just really want to talk to you because my thing is strategy and sustainability, and also not just strategy, but also helping moms to have balanced strategy so that they can, have more free time, more time with their children, doing more things that they love, and also less time in the business. And the fact that you talked about being able to diversify your business model with supplementing some of your income, or not even supplementing your income, but also expanding, some of those transferable skills that we talked about into now your own coaching platform, because you're teaching. I know you have the trucking community. You also have the dispatch course. What is it? I wrote it down. It's from amateur to accelerator dispatch. And then you have start your trucking company, join the truck mob. And, so you're allowing yourself all of these other streams of income to now kind of just flow in. And I love that for you. So these things should be able to start freeing you up in a lot of areas. But like you were saying, kids, they don't definitely see it that way. But the fact that you're already in the mindset of building that, why is it so important for you to also help other women, other minorities, and other mothers in the areas of also expanding, not just either being behind the wheel, but also in areas like dispatch?
Trucking as a whole, our culture isn't supported. And like I said, before, just repeating that, like, it's really a way out for me. Like, I'm very, very street raised, hood raised, like the ghetto to bottom, and so I see so many people that I relate to change their life because of trucking. And I know that there's this bridge of like insecurities, maybe not being as literate, not understanding Zoom, not understanding these apps, the FMCSA, DOT, all these entities that are federally mandated, they're intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
So I love to be like the bridge to say, like, it looks this way and it's hard, but if you do it the right way, and if you just learn these things, I can help you, you can be successful. Like, don't be intimidated to come over here, because it is intimidating. Let me just show you the right way. So that's one of the things. I love pushing dispatch because freight dispatching is very in demand. There's so many companies that need dispatching services. So whether you personally get hired as a dispatch for a company like mine, or you start your own dispatching company and set your rates and your fees, it's a great way, not just for women, but specifically, I love pushing it on women, because if you're that mother and you don't have a lot of time freedom away from your children, and you may not have someone to help you watch your children while you go get a bag, you can get a computer, a phone, get your app, get my course, learn how to do it. And you can literally, the same way I'm sitting in my living room and I'm on this podcast with you, you can be earning 4 to 5 figures a week. Okay? A week. And it's just about you learning the skill set and, boosting your confidence. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you got to start doing the groundwork to go get the carriers, to go land the job. But now you have something tangible that you say, I know how to do, and I can do it from home while the kids are in school, and I can do it from home when they're home. Find your corner, find your room, like, I've literally coached mothers and they say, I don't know what to do. And I have the kids. I say, look, how many bedrooms do you have? I'm strategetic.
Come on.
Now let's get into it. I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, but I'm a mother. How many bedrooms you have in your house? Okay, I have 3 bedrooms. I got me and I got 2 kids. And when I'm in the living room, I hear them. Put them in 2 rooms. Put them in 1 room. You got your room. Either put your office in your corner of your room, or transition your kids into the same room right now. Create your office space. Have your backdrops. Create this 1 room that you got to pay rent for anyway. Now you got write-offs. Now you can write off your phone bill, your cell phone bill, your light bill, because now your business entity is your residence. There's, then I get into the tax write-offs for them. And so it's like, now you have this space and you can look professional. You can go on these Zoom calls. You can talk to these carriers. Like, we go down to literally not just starting the business, but I'm not even like promoting myself. I'm just telling you how
push it. They need to hear it, because they need to know.
They understand. They learn how to dispatch, and then they get stuck and say, but I don't know how to market. What do I do? Like, I'm teaching them how to market themselves, what to post, what not to post, how to talk to a carrier, how to build confidence, how to get those communication skills up. And so like, I just understand, and I love the dispatch side, because if you're a mom that feels stuck, that's the worst feeling. Because you can't do anything about the children that she's there, and they need you, and you have to be there. You have to be there for them. So even if it starts out slow, you have something that you can bank on and that you can build from the comfort of your home while you're still being there for your kids. And I love dispatch for that. And then, it leads you into starting a trucking company, because it's your way in the door. If you don't have the money for a truck, if you don't have the money for a trailer, it's kind of expensive to get a truck, especially right now with inflation, right? So of course there's financing and funding and all these things that can be available, but you can actually get your foot in the door with dispatching, earn a little bag, understand how trucking works, and then boom, now you know how to run a trucking company, and you know what it takes to get the freight. You already have the relationships built, so when you go in and you go put that money down on your truck, you're already running drivers already. Like, you're already hands-on doing a lot of operations for a trucking company as a dispatcher. So it's like you have this confidence of like, okay, I can get a truck, I got enough money saved, I could put a driver in. Now you got a whole nother bag, still running your company from home. So it's like, I love pushing it, because so many women can get in on the back end. If you want to go get your CDL, that's always helpful, but it's not a deal breaker.
I like the fact, and I saw you getting emotional too when you were thinking about moms that were just at home and feeling stuck and feeling like they don't have that revenue stream, or because there are a lot of moms that it is difficult for them to balance and build as a CEO, as a mompreneur, because they do feel stuck because they don't have people to watch the kids. And to be able to say, let's think about this a little bit different. Let's focus on what we have versus what we don't have. You have multiple rooms. If you have to take the corner, let's really look at this holistically versus looking at just like what's really going on. And then even taking it up a notch to say, getting that dispatch course isn't the end all be all, but what you do offer inside of the course is the ability to be able to also teach people how to market themselves so that they can continue to see revenue inside their bank account. I just think that whoever's listening to this, if they are not getting ready, because I'm going to make sure I put your information in our show notes, but if they do not have a stream of income, because I run into it all the time, especially with moms inside of my coaching program, it's the number one thing that holds a lot of moms back from investing in themselves is they don't understand where that revenue is going to come from. And that's the worst feeling. I feel like you want to go so much further, but feel like you don't have the funding to push yourself to the next level. Right. And so to think of it strategically, like you don't have to have a CDL license. You don't even have to get a CDL license, but maybe you want to continue to, use dispatching for one stream of income while you, push another. There's no reason for you to feel like you are stuck at this point. So
yeah.
That was amazing. And I know you talked about funding, and I know I saw a funding opportunity on your page. And I know you also talked about what you had first starting off. Now that you know how to do things differently, right? You've made the mistakes for other moms to be able to, because that's what a coach really is. That's what a strategist is. That's what a consulting is. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for the shortcuts. You're paying for us to be able to give you this microwave approach so that you're not making the mistakes and some of those costly mistakes. Because listen how you said you gave the guy, you had to find out that there were 2 receipts, for your driver. So when you think about some of the things that you would have done differently as far as funding, what are some things as far as how moms or other people in trucking can get funding now that you didn't have access to before?
Everything's credit. So personally, just make sure your credit is in line. There are so many people who can help you with your credit. Find one you trust. Get your credit in line. If you can pay off those small little things that are hurting you, that's the first step, getting your credit in line, because just starting out with anything, they're going to want you to personally guarantee your funding. Even with my funding opportunity. We do help individuals and small businesses that have a low credit score, but your credit score and your position is going to determine your amount. And so if you want that 10K, 20K, 30K, that can really set you aside and really put you ahead in life, your credit has to be in good standing, and just try your best to, keep your bank flow. So when it comes to financing and funding, you want to keep your bank flow to a minimum. So anything coming in, you always want to show the maximum staying in. You can generate $40,000 a month, but if you push out 38, you don't really make too much. So any ways that you guys can minimize and have like separate personal accounts, like separate your business from personal. So when they go into looking at your business, you have that cash flow, and then the same thing like with your personal, and just leverage other people's money. And that's what you're ultimately going to do. If you have 50K right now and you said you wanted to buy a truck, I wouldn't say, okay, here goes this, on Facebook Marketplace, there's one for 38. You can get it cash out. I always advise people, the amount of money that you have, if you can't spend that 3 times right now, don't buy it cash. You need money and cushion. You need a cushion in trucking. Go get approved, put some down. Overall, you may spend more for this unit, but it's going to pay itself off. You're going to generate income. Your monthly income will cover the note. I always try to be very strategic, because our goal is to keep money in the bank. Yeah. Not to bleed it. And so definitely, it's been proven fact that so many people have gotten ahead by never using a penny of their own money. But what they had was good credit. What they had was a good reputation and resources. And I recently just started helping people with funding. And not to say that I didn't have great resources, but the time frames, and me just having a reliable source. Now I partnered with a company called Dave and Allen Capital. I had to become an affiliate to work with them. I'm also able to bring on other affiliates underneath me. My goal isn't to build a team. It's open to mothers who want to look at this as another small stream of income, because you do get a small percentage off the people underneath you. Yeah. My goal wasn't to build a team. My goal was to be able to provide reliable, trustworthy, established funding from a trusted company that I have direct access to, and I can see their process and say, look, they're doing things legitimately, quickly, and finding a company that will work with people in the 500s, in the 600s. And so I finally found the right company to partner with, and now I'm able to provide funding to people to get started, or, not necessarily focus on the get started, but if you're established in any type of business, you can use that amount. Even if they approved you for $3,500, that's more inventory. That's maybe some shirts like this when you go on live and you look professional. Maybe you can go get some professional flyers made. These were like $100. I got about 1,000 of them. So it's like, you'll be surprised if you thought you would get 20 or you would get 10 and you got approved for $2,800. Take that $2,800 and invest it into your marketing, your professionalism, because the way that you're perceived, it goes a long way, especially the way that everyone, our generation critiques every little thing as far as being a business owner. You can take anything that's given to you and you can make it double. And I'll say that. So I love the fact that you're helping women pivot into what their skill set is, and being able to provide that as a service, because I do that silently within my consultation calls, my game planning calls, and my mentorships. I'm always letting them know, hey, what do you know how to do? I'm always pushing someone to put a consultation link in their bio, because it's something so small that you can do. I know a handful of women who are confidence builders, and they literally have people book consultation calls from them to let them know, like, you got it. What do you got? Oh, you don't feel like you got it? Let's go to your closet. We're gonna pull you out of your closet. And I'm about to help you put some 3 outfits together. You're gonna go on live and do this. You're gonna say this. And like, people pay for that. And you'd be surprised how you can earn a few $100, a week. And, people can trust in you, but, that's kind of going off. But
no, it's so good. It's so good though, because I just think
there's so many hidden gems within people. Like,
so many.
All you gotta do is know you got that light bulb. You gotta say, I got it.
Yes.
And it's funny because I have mirror talks, and I'm going to share this with y'all. I don't know how much time we have.
We're good on time.
Mirror talks. We're going to talk about talking to the mirror. And the reason why I say I have mirror talks is because social media, sometimes we get drifted on making sure we're maintaining an image for our business and whatever, right?
Yep.
And so it doesn't allow you sometimes, not to say that anybody on social media is real or fake. We're not going to get into that. But your mirror is your 100% authentic self.
That's good.
Your bank account is your bank account. No matter if you have the nicest dinners and you dress up. I've been to places where my environment and my circle has allowed me to look like I'm living a fantastic life.
Ooh.
And in that moment, I was doing very bad, but I got nice friends. So I'm sipping wine and eating this and they're covering or whatever, you know? And so the perception can be very deadly. When you look in the mirror, you can check yourself.
Ooh.
Down to how you look, how your physique is, your mentality. Sometimes you ever look in the mirror and you just like burst out crying because you looking like, dang, what's going on? And so I have these mirror talks because being a business owner, being in a public light, anytime you decide to start a business, guess what? You're public. You're no more private. So if you have a business and you're on a private page, you're not really ready for business. If you have anything personal that you don't want anybody to judge your business on, don't share it. Because it's connected. So it's so many different things, but at the same time, you're public. So it's like, you have to be able to check yourself before anybody can check anything about you. And you have to be able to be the one to identify, look, these are my weeknesses. This is what I struggle with. And I write on my mirror. My mirror is so dirty. I'll be like, I'll be like, partying too much. Like, what are you celebrating? Yeah. Sometimes you got to buckle down and like send a memo to all your friends. Like, hey, you guys, the next 120 days, I'm really buckling down. I need you guys support. Any kids' birthdays, any personal birthdays, anything that's going on. I'm sorry, I will not make it. Financially, I can't make it. Like, sometimes we have these burdens of like just trying to be there for everybody. And you know that you can't really afford to spend $30 in gas to go to this party, $40 on a gift for this baby's party. You know, like all these, then you got to get your kids a couple of new shirts because we got to show.
Oh my God, I think you're just really talking about it.
Posted, and then you think about it, and you spend $250 to attend a close friend, and it's not that you don't care about them. It's not that you don't love them. It's not that you don't care about whatever it is. You got to discipline yourself and just establish those boundaries for yourself. Like, I need y'all support because I got to buckle down. This is personal, nothing for nobody. I'll be there next year. I'll make it up, whatever. And then you're freed of it. So now you got 120 days to say, boom, it's game time, planner out, mirror talks. Like, you're just doing all the things, and you'll be surprised how much like 120 days of you buckling down and connecting with the right people, getting aligned with whatever coaches you do feel like can take you to the next level. I'm a coach, but I have 3 of them. I have a mindset coach, I have a marketing and branding coach, and I still have a trucking mentor coach. I have people who I go to for advice. I keep up on my information. I read a lot. I never was a reader, but I have FMCSA books. I'm on the website all the time. I'm staying on top of the dates. So it's like, you got to buckle down on what you want to do and find the right avenues. If you are into trucking, I am your girl. I don't steer nobody wrong. I'm very passionate about what I do now. The money turned into a passion. It's like transportation is definitely it for me. And so starting people's trucking companies, helping people learn how to fully operate a trucking company, freight dispatching, and then even just teaching people other ways how to get into trucking. There's a need for storage. So if you have great credit, you don't even want to deal with all the trucks. You hear all the horror stories. Get land.
Yeah.
Go figure out who needs to store containers. Go get trailers. Yeah. Lease trailers to owner operators who need trailers. They'll cover the expenses most of the time on them, because even though it's our responsibility as a trailer leasing, if you have a trailer, most of the time that trucking company owner is going to want to keep rolling. He's going to pay that to some, get that repair done, and keep going to make his money. Like, there's so many different ways that you guys can make money in transportation if it's something that you want to get into. And when you think about transportation, it's been around forever. It's how our economy fuels. Nothing can continuously go in if a truck doesn't move what needs to be going. Any business that you're operating right now, guaranteed a truck moved a portion, or if not all of what the essential supplies and what you need to keep operating. So when you guys even think about businesses to start, if you're stuck somewhere, I want you guys to just think about this. Will it be around 30 years from now? How much of demand is it in? Think about your startup costs and your options, and just truly think, if I invest my time and money in this, when my kids are in their 20s and 30s, can I pass this along to them? Will it still be in demand? And that's a great way for you guys to filter out, is this worth my time and money, when you're thinking about generational wealth and you're thinking about legacy for your kids, because not everything is generationally. Some things make millions of dollars because it was the right timing, it was trending, they made a bag off of it, and it's done. So transportation is that legacy money, you know? And so maybe that was like a quick tip to help you guys if some of you guys were stuck in starting a business and you want to know, like, is this the right lane to go into?
This was so good, Teeauna. Like, we gotta just really do something extra outside of this podcast, because I just think this episode was phenomenal, is phenomenal. I commend you to continue to reach new heights. You are definitely our Mommy Making Million here on the podcast. I thank you for truly just coming. I mean,
thank you.
I just give you all of the accolades. I know it's not easy. I know this was probably hitting some spots that you didn't even realize, just really truly how much you overcame. And I want to let you know that we value you, women like me in the industry, that you're able to connect with, collaborate with, and continue to see a vision that's just really bigger than you. I think that that's just really what allows you to be profitable in the end. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna be on my way to this dispatching course pretty soon. And I know one of our customers, not our customers, Lord have mercy, one of our live viewers, because I'm testing out our podcast live stream, and they were saying they just took a broker course. Do you have any advice for them on the broker side of freight dispatching?
I don't have too much. Broker is at the top of the chain when it comes to freight. I know you have to secure those bonds, so there is some capital that's required for insurance purposes and bond, and you have to have a bag going into a broker. And I will say this, the broker is going to get paid 30 to 40 days after you bill the customer. So if you are having freight and you have 10 carriers working for you and they're making $9,000 a week, do you have the money to front them to pay them in quick pay? Do you have the money to front them to pay them next week while you're waiting 30 days on the back end? So a broker makes way more money than a trucking company, I feel like, because there's less overhead and they're, you know, they're running it up. It's actually something that I'm going to be doing next year. I'm going to have my own brokerage, but you got to get that capital. So I will say this, it's very much needed. You also can, be a freight agent and work underneath a broker and make really good money. I would just say learn the ropes. You can learn what a broker does and how he does it or how she does it. But truthfully, you do need some capital. And you got to be able to be willing to be a shark out there and go get these contracts. It's very competitive and you have established brokers. So even being a new broker, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, you have to be able to also, with capital, maintain your license in the times that you're letting your brokerage age, because no one really even takes your brokerage serious kind of until like you're hitting that year span. So it's almost like you got to get it and let it marinate while you're working. You still got to do a lot of your cold calling, walking into places. And I would just say, once you do become a broker, don't be scared to walk up to these companies, go walking in the office, leaving cards 2-3 times. Like no doesn't mean no, it just means not yet. And it's heavy out there. But you guys can do it. Just make sure that you guys, if you get rolling, you're able to take care of your carriers that are trusting in you with the freight for the payments, because you're going to get paid later. So you got to be able to upfront that money. And if you don't have it, again, go get a line of credit. There's lines of credit that will allow you to, have cash on hand, or be able to, issue ACH payments based on a credit line. Mm-hmm. But again, it results back to credit. So, a lot of people are leaning towards the brokerage And I just think you need to learn trucking before you hop into freight. Like you do need to learn
You
it.
do. Okay.
You become a broker. Like the broker is the top. And it's like you got to work from the bottom to the top. And that's not necessarily physically, but at least learn like what do trucking companies deal with? What's required of them? Then it's so many things that go into running a successful brokerage, and safety scores matter, and all these different things matter when you even want to give a load to a carrier as a broker. But if you don't even know what these things mean, how do you know how to filter through them?
Start at the top. I think I was guilty of that too. I was like, ooh, me looking.
I've been in here 4 years. I've been a driver, I've been a dispatcher, and I've been a trucking company owner. I'm barely about to be a broker. So if you have no trucking experience,
don't try to start at the top. Okay, come back down. Come back. Start.
They can at least get my intro to trucking 101 is $397. You'll learn everything about how a trucking company works. That way you at least can know what your trucking company is doing. Because
don't think like
as a broker, you're trusting in these carriers to handle this freight because you're responsible for this freight. If they fumble this freight, you're responsible. You're paying for it.
Yeah.
So liability wise, you want to know what your trucking companies are required to do. If they're in good standing with the FMCSA and things like that. It's a lot. I'm not going to get into training now, but
I know it is. And just from what you were saying, you're like, listen, I have the courses. It ain't easy, but it's doable, but do you want to, start somewhere? If you're going to start somewhere, dispatching is where it's at. And one other thing too, before we go, you talked about, I got this fly that just won't leave me alone. One thing you talked about was, people can come work with your dispatch team. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I have one that I'm building. And so I would just say in general, whether it's me or it's another company.
Okay.
Entrepreneurship is pushed very heavily. But I will say this, practice doesn't make you perfect. Mm-hmm. It gives you progress. Okay. Practice makes progress. And so if you sometimes being a new dispatcher, when you're still learning, even though you've learned how to dispatch, you become more, you boss up with experience. The more characters you're talking to, the drivers, the experiences that you're encountering, I would just say, don't let your ego and your pride get in the way to saying, I started a dispatch company, but I have to run my company. Right. It's okay to start that LLC, let that LLC age, because I'm going to tell you guys, after a year of having established LLC, there's so much bank financing and funding that you can have, but you need a year. So start the LLC. Even if you're not using it, get it started, okay? But it's okay to say, hey, I know I can make this amount of money being a dispatcher, but I want to work for somebody for 90 days. Yeah. And you say, you get an hourly rate, you still work from home, and now you're gaining experience. Mm-hmm. So when you get into being the face of your own company, you're not throwing yourself underneath the bus before you ever got a chance to drive the wheel. You're going in with experience, and you're going in with a little bit more confidence. You understand what it's like to talk to brokers. You're not like stumbling on, you learn the terms, you learn when you're in a course and in a class, but then you take that knowledge and then you go apply it. And until you get the hang of things, it's okay to just say, look, I'm going to go work for somebody. I'm going to get a weekly check. I can still do it from home. Mm-hmm. I'm going to learn the systems. I'm going to learn the process. And then when you really get to pushing your own company, it's like, boom, you just got that sauce that you need, because you have to be confident in dispatching.
And it's no different from working in a corporate job or a regular 9 to 5, where you went and got the experience, and it helped to pretty much brush up on your skills that you had there at the company. You leveled up while you were there, because when you left there, you know more than you knew before you got the job. So look at it strategically and think about all of the ways that you can truly get the bag. This is PrettyMuthaTrucka. Yeah. Did you want to add something?
No, I was gonna say I'm trying to intern for a broker right now. Me being a CEO of 3 companies.
See that? Never stop learning.
I want to go work. I want to go add value. I want to serve. I want to see how I can be helpful, at the same time be a sponge and soak up what I need to do before I go in that lane. Like, I need a mentor. So
Teeauna, you're just so super dope in all of the ways. I just can't say that enough. Thank you for coming. Where can they find you on social media, YouTube, Instagram? Where can they find you?
Okay. Thank you for having me. Just you're so amazing. Like you're so sweet. You're more beautiful on Zoom I mean, your pictures are beautiful, but you're truly beautiful, like inside and out. So
Thank you.
thank you for having me, allow me to like share my story with your women, your moms. You can follow me at PrettyMuthaTrucka. It's spelled PrettyMutha, and then the trucka with an A at the end. That's on Instagram. That's on Facebook. My YouTube is PrettyPockets. So when you guys see my brand, PrettyPockets or PrettyMuthaTrucka, it's the same thing. I just transitioned, into the trucking industry, but PrettyPockets is still a woman movement that's really big that I have. And so either one, but if you're focused dominantly on the trucking, that is it. If you guys are interested in any of the things that I did talk to, I have a text number. It's 951-336-1621. And if you text trucking to that, you will get trucking information. And if you're just a business owner or personally want to get some type of funding, if you text funding to that number, you'll get automatic generated links and text messages back that will guide you and direct you. And I just really look forward to like all of the women that I can continue to help. And if we don't ever cross paths, I just want to wish
we will. Let me just say that.
We
got work to do.
Well, sometimes people gotta hear it in trees. Like they might see me here and learn about me, and then they follow me, and then they.
Oh, gotcha. Look, I'm like, we will. Yeah.
But you're doing an amazing job here with women, and like we got it, ladies. Like we got it. So you're only in your own way. So once you get out your own way, anything is like literally possible.
Awesome. And that